Well, hey, you guys. So if you live in a rapidly growing area like us here in Nashville, then you probably heard your friends debate all kinds of different housing strategies, right? Like get an older home that has good bones. No, get new construction. Get the tall, skinny houses. Get the retro ranch style house. I mean, there's so many options out there. And because mortgage rates have been on the higher end over the last year or two, and because the cost of living keeps going up, people are having to compromise what their home wish lists are. And this is a really tough discussion, I think, because priorities and expectations are shifting and setting more into reality of what it looks like today. So I want to talk through all the pros and the cons and remind you of the most important things to consider if you are a current or a future homeowner. And if you enjoy this channel and this kinds of content, make sure to subscribe. It only takes a second and it helps us out a lot. All right, first, let's talk about when the right time to buy a home is. So to get into the housing market financially, you want to be in a great place. So what does that mean? I want you out of debt. And I want you to have a fully funded emergency fund of at least 3 to 6 months of expenses. So that's really important because what happens is if you are living paycheck to paycheck with a ton of debt and you have no savings and then you go and buy a house, it's probably going to end up being more of a stress point in your life than a blessing. So I think it is really important to put yourself in a good financial position, and then you can go and buy. So once you're out of debt and you have a fully funded emergency fund, then I want you to save up at least 5% for a down payment. And ideally, you would get a 15-year fixed rate mortgage and that your payment is no more than 25% of your take-home pay. And that 25% I know is pretty conservative for a lot of people, but here's the deal. If your home and this one line item in your budget is taking up, 40, 50, 60% of your income, you're not going to have a lot left just to live on and to do other things. So again, within those boundaries is a really great place to be. And listen, homes are an appreciating asset and they are a smart investment over time. So I think being a homeowner is key to your overall financial picture long-term. And I think it's wise to get into the game when you're ready. And if you check the points on what we just talked about, I would go ahead and jump in. Again, they're actually kind of coming down a little bit now that we're filming this video, and could continue to go down. So I always say, date the rate, but marry the house. So if you are in a position to buy. But in order to reach that point, right, to get to this point that you have money saved or that you're getting out of debt, you want to take your income that you're making now and let it go as far as possible. And the best way to do that is to plan that out, plan your spending for the month. And that is why I love EveryDollar. EveryDollar is a great app to help you when it comes to your money and to be intentional with every dollar, hence the name, goes of your paycheck, and it's completely free. So click the link below and you can create a budget just in a couple of minutes. All right, now that you have an idea of when you might be ready for this step, let's chat about the common questions that people have when they're looking at what kind of home to buy. So some people say, okay, should I buy an older home, but it's in a better location? Or should I move outside the city and afford, maybe a new construction? Some people are even asking, oh my gosh, are new houses even made to last these days? Because it just seems like they're going up so fast. Some people are like, well, is an older home a poor investment? Do you get in there to redo it and you find all this other stuff? Or some people are like, well, should I just go ahead and go super cheap and, gut the whole thing and do a rehab there? Or should I go real cheap and buy some cheap just to get into the housing market? I mean, there are so many questions, you guys. There are a lot of theories about the right way to invest in real estate. But in this housing market, it all comes back to supply and demand. And so there is still a housing shortage happening. There is. And that's why prices went up drastically during COVID. And we saw the effects of that a year or two after. And honestly, that's kind of why they're just staying the same, is because there is still a housing shortage. So when you look at buying a house, again, in your 4 walls is food, shelter, utilities, and transportation. So housing is in there. And I do think that there is a time to rent. I do not think if you're renting, you're doing something wrong by any means. Because if you're saving yourself time to get yourself in a financial position, then that's great. But again, if you have the means to go ahead and you're set up to jump into the housing market, again, that's what I would do, because I think long term, that's some of the best use of your money. Now, when people need a place to live, then companies know that they can build higher volume of homes and people have no choice but to buy them because there they are. So according to an article that I just saw, the average home is 32% more expensive than the average existing home during the same time period. And aesthetics have become a major priority for buyers in the last 15 years with the rise of social media. But if new neighborhoods are built in a hurry, sometimes you're sacrificing the quality of the house just to get in. And if you're spending 32% more, then you may not have the margin that you need to make larger repairs down the road. So again, don't just go buy your house to compete with your high school friend that's on Facebook, right? You want to be in a position where you're like, okay, yeah, this is smart and this is wise for the barriers and the boundaries that I have for me and my money. So that may mean, not going and buying a brand new house. But I know the hard thing is too, people are struggling because a lot of people are staying in their homes longer. And so those older homes, again, aren't up for sale. So again, I want you to be wise because I don't want you to be house poor. So if it's not a new construction, that's okay. And again, some of the new construction, you may be sacrificing quality as well. So be thinking about that. All right, before we chat about that Airbnb struggle that we're seeing in so many cities, I want to tell you about one of our sponsors, Delete Me. So you guys, scammers are everywhere. And because of the internet, it seems like our information is out there more and more. And these people are very sneaky about scamming you because if they have your information, if they have your cell phone number, if they have your mailing address, they know so much about you. So you are so much more likely to fall for a scam. So I don't want you to do that. I have done that a time or two, I'm not going to lie. And it costs time, it costs money, and it is not fun. So getting your information removed from the internet is so, so important. That's why I use and recommend Delete Me. Delete Me finds and removes your personal info like your home address, your phone number, and more from hundreds of data broker websites, helping protect you from spammers, scammers, and online thieves. So this is really important, you guys. I would check it out because, again, the world today of the internet, our information is out there. So you want to get it removed. So go to joindeleteme.com/Rachel for 20% off. That's joindeleteme.com/Rachel. All right. One common complaint that I hear people talk about is the monopoly on real estate and popular destinations. So vacation homes seem to be snatched up really quickly by investors or hedge funds groups or Airbnb flippers. And so there's this idea when you go into a touristy city, sometimes some of the real estate there, right, is gobbled up by these entities. And so I've heard more and more people seeing this and complaining about it. Some states are even putting some regulations around this. So again, this is an effect, I think, of housing costs going up. But when it comes back to this idea that you can control what you can control, that's what's important. And so getting yourself in a position to be able to enter that market and to enter the housing market when you can. But this more popular the city you're in, the more you're probably going to run into this. So in response to this competitive housing market, people have started trying to get some creative solutions. And like anything, some of these strategies have some pros and some cons. So for example, centrally located homes, they're convenient, but they've usually been there the longest. So there may be some imperfections or even paying for some repairs that maybe you don't see that'll be coming up. But on the other hand, homes outside the city are usually newer, but you're going to have more of a commute. And it's a little bit uncertain on how well they're made. So according to research quoted by Realtor.com, lot sizes between 1990 and 2016 decreased from 8,250 square feet to 6,970 square feet. Again, with supply and demand, it's more profitable for builders to go in and build more homes in a smaller area. So, I think about Green Hills in the Nashville area. It's a really popular place, and people have been building small homes with these big yards. And now people are like knocking down the homes and they're buying, they're building 2 or 3 homes, or they're building a gigantic house where it used to just be a little house. So people are doing what they can to get what they want, but we're seeing real estate change so quickly. Now, with all this info and with all these opinions circulating around, here's what I want you to take away. Is there may be a place in your heart that you're going to have to compromise. So unless you win the lottery, or maybe you're an heiress to a throne you didn't know existed, there's probably going to be some compromise to your wish list. And again, I think we've gotten more realistic as the years have gone on. It was a real gut punch about 18 months ago, but I think people that we're now seeing there wasn't a bubble prices are the way they are. So now what are we gonna do about it? And so again, whether it's sacrificing the location, if it's sacrificing the type of house that you were thinking about, the yard, whatever it is, you have to know your priorities and your non-negotiables, and then everything else may be up for grabs. And that's okay, because I also want you to remember your home, yes, it should be a long-term investment. You want to be in it for at least 5 years, just to get the realized gains and everything. But man, you can move. Like, there is a place that you could look up in a decade from now and be in a different home. And that's okay too. So I don't want you to wait for the perfect solution, because usually there's not going to be. You're going to have to sacrifice something, and that's okay. But I want you to financially be wise about it. So again, making sure that you're in a place to buy a home wisely, like we talked about at the beginning of this episode, is so, so important. So I hope that helps. Again, getting back to this idea that you have the ability to control what you can control. And in the housing market and all of this, it's a really big decision, but I want you to be as informed as possible. So if you're thinking about buying a home or even selling a home, make sure to check out a Ramsey Trusted Real Estate Agent. They really take the Ramsey message and use that when it comes to buying or selling your home, and they help you stay on the plan. So make sure to check them out. I'll leave a link below so you can contact a pro near you. And make sure to share this episode with a friend who maybe needs a great real estate conversation. So if you found this helpful, make sure to check out my episode about easy ways to pay off your mortgage early. So you can click the link below if you are listening on podcast to make sure to hear that as well. All right, you guys, remember to take control of your money and create a life you love. Well, hey, you guys, I am thrilled to have Nero Feliciano with us today. She is a cognitive psychotherapist, yes, and an expert on psychology and brain science. She's also a wife and a mom of 4, and her new book, All Is Calmish, is out, and she is just incredible, you guys. She has such incredible wisdom and insight. She's one of my favorite people, so the fact that she is here in studio, I'm just so excited about. All right, make sure to like, subscribe, and share this episode with a friend. And here is our conversation. I'm so glad you're here.
Me too.
This makes me so happy. Okay, so as we're going into the holidays, you have been talking about this subject, thinking about this subject a lot with just the world. Because number one, your book, All Is Calmish, is out. And I love it. All Is Calmish.
Good.
Such a fun title.
It's true, right?
It is.
Ish.
Yes. Yeah. Never fully, it feels like. So I'm curious from you, like, your perspective of why do you feel like we are the way we are in America today, of just overabundance of not just like the consumer side and like the buying of the holidays, but our time, like our expectations, like where we have to be, all of that. Like, does it feel like a lot? And has it always been like that? Or am I just a grown-up now? And I feel like I realize it.
I'm a therapist, and just hearing you say that makes me feel overwhelmed. So I can only imagine the average person. It is. And I think part of it, why, especially in the holidays, it gets so overwhelming, because we're all operating at maximum capacity all year long, right? Do you know anyone who has extra mental bandwidth these days?
Totally. Yeah.
Especially parents, you know, when every activity is year round and there's a sign up for everything and an app that you have to sign into for passwords you don't remember, you know, every single
Totally,
time.
yes.
So then we think about, we have to run life like that and then put everything else on top of the holidays. So that's where I think it gets to be kind of emotional overload during that time. But then we're also living in this culture that's bigger, better, more.
Yes.
All the time.
Yes.
Right? And we're inundated with what life could look like and what life for someone else looks like and how much better it is all the time, because everyone has access to social media on their phones. So I think a combination of the two, because that piece also still goes on on the holidays. Then it's just tailored to the holidays. Look what you have to do. Look what you can get. You know, look how beautiful your house can look. Gets all then.
It just merges and collides
together.
Yeah,
that's right.
It's what it feels like. Yeah, so it is probably the pace at which we live normally, which I never even really thought about that.
Yeah,
because you kind of just I can just focus in on like a specific time on the calendar. But then when you stop and examine everything, you're like, oh no, your normal day to day,
right,
is already crazy and going, and like every hour is booked with something. And then you put holidays on top, and then you add technology and being able to see what everyone's doing. So, so people are feeling that. Like, I talk about money a lot, of like the margin of your money and your finances, and like, how do we have expectations and be wise about that? But from like a time and a relational standpoint, what does that look like for people as they're going into the holidays and planning trips, seeing family that they may or may not even want to see.
Right. That's a whole other conversation.
Friends. Yeah. So what is that? How do you even start? Like if someone does feel so overwhelmed and they're like, okay, I'm going to this holiday season. Life already is crazy. What are things they can like think through, prioritize, put boundaries up, like all of it? Like where can they even start?
Yeah. And I had to think about that for the book.
Yes.
Right? Because it usually starts with us. And then we set the tone for our household. Yeah. So I actually wrote this book through 2 holidays because the deadline actually got pushed out a year. But I said, okay, now I'm writing it through the second one. I'm going to practice what I know I put into place. And part of that is just starting with a moment of calm in your day. That could be 1 minute of breathing before you go on your phone to just center. It actually doesn't take long, Rachel.
Yeah.
You know, we think about all these practices that we're told that we need to do, all these wellness lists that we're trying to check off, and even that gets overwhelming.
Sure.
Start with 1 minute of breathing before you go on any device in the morning, right? And the other thing I did was I created a little small ritual for myself that I would try to do a couple times a week. And all it was I sat down. I actually did a devotional because that's what I do. But I lit a candle. And there was something about having that candle and the smell of it and a focal point. All of this took all of 5 minutes, by the way.
Sure.
But it changed my energy in the day. And I would also say, aside from, for me, that was something I had to look forward to throughout the whole season. But take 3 things when you think about your whole season and everything you do. 3 things that you say, I'm going to be fully present for that.
Yes.
We cannot be fully present all throughout the day. I love people who can, but most of us can't.
Sure.
Right? We run at this crazy pace.
Right.
The 3 things those are important to me. I don't want to miss it. I want to remember it 2 holidays, 3 holidays from now. And that gives us a sort of structure that we can then begin to build around. So
I love that. And I even like that you kind of put a little bit of a time frame because you're like, during the season, do this because it calms you during this craziness.
Right.
It may be a habit you take on for the rest of the year.
Right.
That you love. But even the senses, like the smell of the candle, like people talk about that, the memory of what someone told me when I first got pregnant with my first. She said, wear a different perfume during each pregnancy. And when you go back, you'll remember. And I'm not kidding. It is crazy. And I did 3 different scents through my pregnancy. But all that to say, the power of even just smell.
Yes.
And so I'm like, so engage your body, engage your senses with it to allow your actual body to calm down and be present. Because there, I'm assuming you kind of get a clearer mind to make other decisions that are coming up.
You absolutely do.
Better.
The senses are powerful. And even when people are having panic attacks, one of the grounding exercises we do is engage your 5 senses in the moment around you.
What do you see? What do you smell?
That's right. Exactly. So
Interesting.
That's very true.
So interesting. Yeah. Okay, so you get this ritual in place.
Yes.
You can calm down, kind of like...
It doesn't have to be fancy, literally, like 3 to 5 minutes.
Yes.
But it's something that grounds you in that moment.
But be consistent with it.
Yes.
Because then that leads to the ability to have a level of mental capacity.
That's right.
To start to make these decisions. And as people look forward and they're like, okay, maybe they've gone through Thanksgiving or something, right? And they're heading into the Christmas season. What do you say of expectations of other people during the holidays?
Yes.
And what do you do to I don't know, man, when are you supposed to quote unquote just be a good person? And you know what I mean? Which is such more the people pleaser side. And then where do you put up the boundary and say, okay, we don't have time for X, Y, and Z? Because we literally don't. And if I say yes to these things, it's going to cause chaos and disruption and it's not worth it. We're going to create some margin in that. How do you pick and choose and how do you create those boundaries?
Yeah. It's complicated depending on the situation, right?
Yeah.
And there isn't a scripted answer that's going to fit everybody's situation. But I do think we can go back to what about this situation can I control? Because that's all we can control. We can't control how someone else is going to respond or what they're going to bring up. We can plan our responses to it, though. right?
Yes, yes.
So whether that means, okay, I need to step away when things get heated. I need to work on what will it take to calm me down in that moment. I live in the north, as you know, and it's cold, and cold actually helps. So maybe if you live down here, you just stick your head in the freezer at that moment when someone says something,
right? The freezer, open the refrigerator.
Right, because that actually calms us. But I think go back to what can I control and what do I have to let go of and surrender in that moment. And in terms of being a nice person, there are varying degrees of that. Right?
Sure.
We can be cordial, we can be loving, but at the same time, boundaries enable us to stay nice and loving. So that's going to be important too, because we're also trying to protect our family, right? Because sometimes those interactions affect everyone in our family, even maybe our kids in that moment.
Sure.
And I think there's this conception that misconception that boundaries, if you set boundaries, you're kind of a jerk and you're not loving, but they actually enable us to stay compassionate for longer.
Yes.
So boundaries can look like in the holidays, someone wants to come and stay at your house for 2 weeks and you say, hey, we would love to see you, but we've made plans for some of those days. Can you come from, Friday to Tuesday or whatever it might be? That's
and you're
a
like the
boundary.
proactive one.
That's right.
Yes.
Right.
Of setting that up.
Yeah.
All right. More of my conversation with Nero in a minute. But first, I do want to tell you about one of our sponsors, Christian Healthcare Ministries. More than 100 million Americans carry medical debt, which shows traditional coverage often leaves people to face big bills alone. And families need more than coverage. They need community. And that's why I love Christian Healthcare Ministries, a budget-friendly, faith-based alternative to health insurance. So there are no networks, no insurance headaches. Go to chministries.org/budget to learn more. And you guys, when you're working the baby steps, your bank shouldn't be working against you. That's why I love Fairwinds Credit Union. They share Ramsey values like getting out of debt, saving for the future, and putting people first. Their smart checking and savings bundle was designed to line up with the baby steps. So if you're ready to move your money somewhere that supports your financial goals, Fairwinds is what you've been looking for. Just head to fairwinds.org/Ramsey to open your smart checking and savings bundle today. I get a sense, and I don't want to say it's true for I don't want to make a blanket statement, but I do feel like there's kind of been this trend recently of, gosh, my parents or my family maybe voted a certain way, or, or maybe you're in therapy yourself and you're realizing, oh my gosh, my parents weren't perfect. And maybe there was some hurt there. There just seems to be a lot of fractured relationships. And I feel like I hear more and more of this, almost applause to people that like remove themselves. Yes. And again, it may not be everywhere, but I feel like I start to kind of see pockets, and I do. And I have been in situations and know very close friends that there was an abusive situation, and there is a actual, no, there are reasons to put up hard boundaries, 100%. And then as not that extreme, but even like people that literally don't have money. They're like, I literally cannot buy a plane ticket to fly across the country this Christmas. Like we cannot afford it, right? And that's a boundary. You don't have the means to do it, right? And that's going to be a boundary. So there are reasons for boundaries, absolutely. Do you think that we've gone too crazy with our approach to, I don't want to even call it boundaries because I think that word can be thrown out, but relational, I don't know, I hate to say severedness, but does that make sense? Like, I don't know. I feel like I hear more and more of people cutting people off and there's like an applause to it versus like a grief.
Yeah.
And I just feel like there's a sadness there to that.
I 100% agree with you in that we're seeing way too much of it in situations that don't warrant it. In situations where, okay, we can actually have a really beautiful, productive, healthy relationship and not have every piece in alignment, right?
Right.
And a lot of times the relationships I'm hearing about are adult children cutting off their parents.
Yes, that's
older
it. Yes.
children.
Yes.
Which is also very sad.
Yes.
Yes. So I think part of it is we live in a culture where everything deserves attention, every opinion, every viewpoint, and people platform them. And at the end of the day, it's like, what is it that is going to make your life fulfilling? Is it standing on this one issue? For some people, it might be. But for the majority of people, it's not.
Right.
Right?
Yes.
I always think before you're about to set those kind of boundaries. And some of them, you may have irreconcilable issues, and that's different. There may be abuse. It may be toxicity. That's different.
Yes.
But we're using those labels far too easily before we're really exploring the situation. And I would say, think about your history with this person. Think about the moments where you've shown up for each other. Think about times where this has actually meant something to you. And is that possible now? And especially if we take away that one issue that's creating conflict, can we still have this type of relationship? For some, the answer is no. And in that case, okay. But unless we stop to ask those questions, we're never going to know.
Yes.
We're never going to know. And what we lose may be far more valuable than what we gain by setting the boundaries. So we have to go through that process.
No, that's so good. Because as we're talking about the holidays and relationships and all of that, it is, it's interesting. So I'm like, you can't be everywhere, right? So there may be times you're going to have to say no. But then I do always wonder, if you look back, are there times that we said no to a full relationship, which is just so sad, and or ongoing, holiday traditions or whatever. And do we get to be 80 years old and look back at our life and be like, wow, my priorities were actually the opposite. It should have been probably more people-oriented than maybe some other things that we're putting. I don't know. But it is interesting because I feel like we're in that season as a family, just in the sense of kids and activities, and we're getting pulled from 3 different grades now where my kids are, and parents, different groups of parents, which are so fun. I mean, but our world just starts to get bigger and bigger, and we're like, oh my gosh, we can't. So my husband looked at me the other day. He was like, Rachel, we can't say yes to everything.
Yes.
Like we really can't. And I'm like, I know, but I want to. But everything's so social and fun. And I'm like, we can do this party and then leave early to go to this. And he's like, hey, just.
But you mentioned something that's really important. And this is one way we look at, are we investing our time in the right places? Think about when you are 80 years old, towards that stage of your life, and you look back on your life. What do you find is going to be valuable even then when you look back? What would you regret if you didn't do?
Yes.
And that question can actually be a guide to
filtering.
how you invest your time in money and relationships now.
Yes. No, that's so good. Okay. Those are all good things to remember, especially I feel like coming up on the holidays. You talk about in the book to choose connection over perfection, which I love. Because I am not a perfectionist. That is one thing that I've never struggled with. No. I struggle with a lot of things, discontentment, all the things. There's a lot of things.
4 kids broke me. But perfection.
I'm like, cut corners where you can. I think it's great. Yes. Like, I don't know, I'm fine with it. But I know for certain personalities, even within my own nuclear family, even I'm like, I can see the ones that like, it is such a part of who they are.
Yes.
Of like doing and if you can't do it perfect, I don't want to do it all of it. Yes.
Yep.
And so they'll put their time and effort into these tasks that at the end of the day, I'm like, you're okay. Like, it's okay if it's not great. But during the holidays, why is this so important to choose that connection over the perfection?
I think there are a couple reasons now. I mean, and I can't underestimate the impact of social media.
Yeah.
The photographing of things, the posting of things, especially when everybody else is doing it. It really is so powerful. And we talk about it. I mean, you and I can talk about it and be like, this is so stupid. But we still all do it 100%. On some level.
Yes.
Right? It's part of our culture now.
Yes.
But I think when we think about it at the end of it, are we depleted? Are we exhausted? And if we are, and have we enjoyed the people who are the most important to us in that season? We have to take account of if we are feeling depleted and exhausted, if we don't feel like we got enough time with them, if the season went by too fast, then what can we eliminate that at the end of the day, and I hate to say it because I think it's important to do things for ourselves.
Yeah.
But no one else cares about but you.
Yes.
No one else in your family cares about, or people coming over, whatever it is.
Yes.
This is why now I tell my friends, come over to my house. Like, it's going to be messy.
Yes.
I have 4 kids. We have 2 jobs. It's going to be messy. Just come over.
Yes.
Because I'd rather do that than spend all the time perfecting the way my house looks and never spending that time with my friends.
Yes.
So questions like that, I think they're important. And it's really just being honest with yourself about what's going on around us.
Yes. I even think like when we have dinner, I have like 2 friends and I love them dearly, but they do it all the time. And I'm like, stop, come sit down. They'll like get up and do dishes. In the middle, you know what I mean? Like, and it's even that kind of, and I know it's probably more for efficiency than like worried about perfection by any means, but there is something of like, we can get so task oriented. Yeah. We can put this expectation of what things should be.
Yeah.
For other people, really not even for ourselves.
True. But they're doing that because they love you and they want to help you.
No, at their house.
Oh, at their house. Oh, I thought it's your house. I was like,
that too. They will do it at mine too.
If they do it at my house, go ahead.
They start to they start to like get up and do, and I'm like, just stop it. Like
their house.
Yeah,
because they can't sit till it's done.
Yeah, that's right. That's right.
They can't relax.
That's right.
Until it's done.
Yes, I know, and that's what they say all the time, and it's so funny. And
right.
I mean,
I'm not that person.
It's just an example. It's like a quick, like, I mean, it takes them 15 minutes. It's not the end of the world, but you take, any level of that and extrapolate it over the course of the entire holiday season, right? And you're just like, oh my gosh, like, let's
here's another thing too, right? Practice even at 5 to 10 minute increments of your day, just being bored. Doing something without listening to something.
Oh God, that's
or
hard.
Having something on. I mean, we do it driving for 5 to 10 minutes with being bored.
And not looking at your phone.
Because that helps us to practice being present. Right?
Yes.
So that person who's getting up to do the dishes and in the middle of a conversation has trouble directing their thoughts to that moment right then. And this is a way that we can train our brain to do it in other moments that are more consequential, more impactful.
Yes. Oh my gosh. It's so interesting. I was just talking to a friend literally yesterday about kind of this topic.
Yes.
Where I started examining, my husband asked me this question. So now I'm just kind of aware, like I'm like watching, feeling my brain, like where it's going during the day, where my thoughts go. And I'm like, it is so true how I'm going to say 98% of where my brain is most of the time is thinking about, and not even the future, like 5 years, but like in the next, 2 hours of like, I got a 3:30 here. We got a, dinner at 6. Like I got to leave the house by 6. Like, you're there. I don't necessarily think about the past a ton. I know some people, their mind can kind of go there, but rarely do I practice just literally like, even when I'm driving, like last night I did it because we were talking about it.
Right.
And I'm like, I'm driving my 2 kids, listening to like Forrest Frank or whatever,
Right.
Tucsonic from and she went to, I don't know. I was like replaying and just like, this is what I'm doing right now.
Yep.
I had to make myself though. Think it. Like it doesn't just come.
It's a practice.
It is.
Right. Yeah. Because everything in our life and our culture now pulls us away from that, right? We're standing in the grocery store for literally 1 minute. We're bored. We take out our phone.
Yes.
And also in those moments, we limit our ability to think more deeply. So think about big ideas. Think about, our purpose and our meaning because we don't give us the moment, the chance to actually let those things come up.
Yes.
So that's the bigger picture
of what
benefit
you're getting there.
Of the small practices.
So good. But every season too, I'm like, even through summer, people, the number one thing everyone always says is, I can't believe it's over. It went so fast, right?
Yes.
And people say that about the holiday season too.
All the time.
When you come back in January, you're like, oh my gosh, it's just like, I can't believe it's over.
I didn't feel that way. The one time I did
when you
I
did the book
my
and
ritual.
yes.
Even though it was so small, I felt like I had these micro moments of presence and things. And I ended the holiday feeling differently, not how I had every other year. And I have 4 kids and a job, right? So if I can incorporate that in a small way,
so it's a testament
feel that way. Yes,
works. Everything in there. It's your time. Oh my gosh, it's so good. Okay, what else would you say as we end this that you're like, I want people to know this for the season coming up? It could be from the book or just from your thoughts.
Yeah. I mean, I think the connection over perfection is a big piece of it, and to think about what do you remember from your holidays growing up? What are you taking with you now as adults? And if we think about it, they probably look different than what we're experiencing right now and what we're doing right now.
Yep.
The extent to which we are doing.
Yes.
So if you stop and think about that and think about what do you want your kids to remember 20 years from now?
Yeah.
Those are the areas we focus on. And then it allows us to think about, okay, what can I let go? And maybe we don't let go of it forever, but trial run it.
Yeah, for a few months.
For one holiday.
Yes.
All right, maybe we'll do a little bit less so we can feel more, right? We can be more present.
Yes. With the kids and their memories, when you said that, is there, I don't even know, is there like scientific studies or something around the idea that experiences and moments as a family versus actual things and what they... Because I think it's always, people always ask it, and it's true. We're like, what did you get for your 6th Christmas? When you're 6 years old. Most people can't answer it, but they can talk about, here's the tradition we always did X, Y, and Z. But there is, because the experience usually involves connection, right? And we know from the Harvard study of well-being, it's our greatest predictor of well-being, the strength of our connections. So experience also incorporates that
piece of it. And then neurologically, there are different neurochemicals. So when we get something new, it's a lot of dopamine, which we know fades over time.
Yeah.
So if you ask my kids, what'd you get last Christmas? They probably can't remember.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
But
Totally.
if you ask, what did we do? Or bring up some sort of experience we might have, they'll remember. They'll remember going to the show together, right? In the city. So that also then releases oxytocin. That boosts our serotonin. So those are longer acting kind of appreciation neurochemicals versus kind of the quick high-low of dopamine. So yes.
Amazing. I knew it. I was like, I knew we were created in some way for that to be true.
Yeah, it is
my
true.
Gosh, amazing.
Yeah.
Well, thank you so much for all the wisdom and everything. And where can everyone get the book?
Thank you. Anywhere. All your
the great
local
Amazon
stores,
too.
Amazon, Barnes and Noble. And thank you, because you have a chapter in my book where you shared your wisdom about talking about money and budgets. Tough conversation.
I know, this is actually like our introduction was the interview. I think the first time we actually
first kind of in-person Zoom
call. Yes, I know.
That's right.
Which I so appreciated. So great. Okay, and where can everyone find you?
Well, on today.com, I actually searched myself today. I'm like, I'm here a lot. So
here I am.
You can find a lot of the things that I talk about there, but on my website, neurofeliciano.com, and then on Instagram too.
That's right. You're there too. So great. Well, thank you so much for being here.
Thank you, Rachel.
All right. I hope you guys enjoyed that conversation. Now, if you're looking for more ways to have a stress-free holiday season, be sure to check out my episode, 3 Healthy Money Boundaries to Set with Family. You can click right here or click the description below. All right, you guys, remember to take control of your money and create a life you love. Well, hey, you guys. So there are definitely some things that I love to splurge on. I love a good hotel. I love a good high-quality handbag. But at the end of the day, I prefer to ball on a budget when it comes to everyday items that I shop for. And there are some things that I will always say no to. So today I'm sharing popular products that, in my opinion, are a complete waste of money. And be sure to stick around to the end, because the last item on my list is a financial product trap that everyone needs to avoid. So first, let's just start off with a little bit of humor, because the whole reason this topic has been on my mind lately is because we had a slightly traumatic experience at this dinosaur exhibit that was a complete ripoff. So on Instagram, I kept seeing this ad for this dinosaur thing coming to Nashville. And Charles, my 4-year-old, loves dinosaurs, like loves them. Dinosaur underwear, dinosaur shirts, dinosaurs. And so I was like, this would be such a good thing. Like, I don't normally do this. I'm not like buying tickets out to stuff all the time, but like this would be a fun family thing to do on a Saturday where we didn't have anything, which rarely happens either. We go, it was the most terrible experience I've had in a really long time. We were totally ripped off, y'all. I mean, like, just know there was a grown man dressed up as a dinosaur, and the dinosaur's name was Diego, and he came, and Diego spun around. Diego sat, and Diego stood back up. That was part of the exhibit, was that. It was so bad, y'all. And it was rainy and muddy. It was outside, and like they had bounce houses that I bought extra tickets for, and the bounce houses were like puddles of mud and kids and sweat. Like, it was just gross. It was just bad. It was bad. The whole thing. And the worst part of it all is we're driving home, and Winston was like, well, that was an adventure. But at least, it was probably only like $10 a person or something, right, Rachel? No. We spent $156 to take our family to this. So anyways, it was just one of those moments where I thought, okay, I'm going to learn. And the bright side of all of this is that, we have a good memory. We still laugh about it because, again, trapped in this fairground tents with bounce houses in Diego was not a great Saturday. Okay, let's dive into the actual list, though, of really things that are not worth the money. And the first thing that I thought about was expensive athleisure wear. So $100 for a pair of leggings in this economy? No. Now listen, I love Lululemon. I love all the nice things. It's great. But y'all, the same stretchy fabric technology now is like in so many places. I have ones from Amazon, some from Old Navy, and they are a fraction of the price, and they're fantastic. So that's one thing that I will go Target, Old Navy, Amazon for all that stuff. Again, if you want to splurge on a couple of items from like the nicer places, I'm sure they're wonderful and nice. I have some But overall, if I just need some running shorts, I'm probably going to go to Target for that. All right, the next popular item that I think is a waste of money is for my friends with hoarding tendencies. I love you guys. But renting out storage units or investing in collectibles is not always the wisest way to spend your money. So listen, if you have to have multiple storage units for all your crap, we probably could do some purging, don't you think? We could probably say, hey, here's some, that's just trash we could throw out. Here's some things we could sell. Like, we may just have too much stuff. And the fact that, for some people, they're paying a monthly rent on a place to keep all of this. Now, I get it. If you went from like a house to an apartment, you're downsizing. Like, if there's a transitional period during time, I get it. Absolutely. But overall, just think of all the crap you have and just ask yourself, would I be sad if this was gone? Because the truth is, you're probably not. Probably not. Now, again, there are a few exceptions here, but let's just think about how we can save money on rent when it comes to a storage unit. All right, number 3 for me is expensive kids' clothes. So if you are a parent, you know how much time it feels like it takes to keep up. My kids, they grow so fast. Like, we go through 2 sizes of shoes, usually throughout the school year, from one summer to the next. I mean, there were just this and all of it. There's just so much. And so I will look for sales for my kids when it comes to nicer stores. But honestly, I just get stuff from Old Navy and Target. Like, that is it. When they were like little, I would go to consignment sales because a bunch of bougie moms in like the rich part of town would have like pretty smock dresses and like all these like really, really nice outfits that I would get at a fraction of the cost, which was amazing. But y'all, I'm like, the kids, let's just be honest. They're going to grow out of them. And they're a mess. Like, they go to school, all of it. So I will buy inexpensive clothes all day for my kids. The 4th product that I think is a waste of money is any and all food at the movie theater. So we are a pre-movie Walgreens family. So if we go to the movies, we usually go to Walgreens and get the candy boxes there. It's half the cost. And I remember even when I was a kid, my mom would get a bag. She bought a bag of popcorn, y'all, at the movie theater. And it was like, you could get refills for free. She would like fold that bag and put it in her purse. And like next time we went, she'd like shake it out and go get more popcorn. So we found ways to scoot around the system. I'm not saying that's a good thing, but it happened. And one time we took all of our kids to the movies and I was like, let's just go big and let's just do it. Like, we'll buy, the food here. And y'all, it was so much. It was so expensive. So listen, putting some stuff in the old purse, like, just do it. Just do it. Save some money that way. Now, the next item on the list can easily run people about $5,000. But before I tell you more about that, I want to tell you about a faith-based alternative to health insurance that can make healthcare more affordable. And that's Christian Healthcare Ministries. So CHM allows members to share each other's healthcare costs. And it's as easy as 1, 2, 3. Step 1, choose the healthcare provider you want. Step 2, submit your eligible bills. And Step 3, get reimbursed. CHM members that take care of your eligible medical bills. And with no networks and the freedom to choose your healthcare provider, CHM is the best option for Christians who want to take care of their families and help other believers. So find out more at chministries.org/budget. All right, popular product number 5 that I think is a waste of money. A Dyson. Yep. And I know you guys, I'm going to get some heat for this, but listen, I'm convinced that a vacuum cleaner is a vacuum cleaner. A hair dryer is a hair dryer. And just like the legging technology has caught up with us, there are tons of dupes out there for viral hair appliances like the Dyson hair wrap. And again, I listened to this podcast with this hairstylist and she was like, no. And she named up like 3 or 4 other hair dryers too that were better than the Dyson and cost half of the money. So I think there's some other alternatives out there, so don't feel like you have to fall into that trend. All right, the 6th product that I think is a waste of money is airport and airplane food. I know. So listen, we're talking $10 bottled waters. Remember magazines that used to buy magazines? They were like $7 per magazine, all of it. And then you got to pay for the air Wi-Fi service, the overpriced cocktails on the plane, like all of it. And it is so easy for your money to slip through your fingertips when you're traveling. So before you travel, just think, hey, throw in some snacks, throw in an empty water bottle, because a lot of now airports, you can fill up your bottle at different water filling stations. And again, if you want to have, a cocktail on the plane or something here or there, that's great. But just know, all of this is going to cost so much. And that's money you could have spent at your destination, like having a great night out. So just remember that. Now, the seventh item that ends up being a waste of money is twofold. Popular jean styles and trendy jewelry pieces. They're always changing, you guys. Always changing. And I do want to invest in new cuts and colors every season. And I just do it. And when I buy that stuff, it's usually Amazon, Old Navy, Target, Abercrombie, all the things. Because again, even jeans, you think about jeans and how much they have changed over the last 4 years. And if you want to kind of just be on trends a little bit, you're probably going to cycle through some styles and all of it. So go on the cheap end. Don't buy the really expensive stuff. And finally, the one financial product that I never recommend is something that is supposed to help you out when you're in need, but it absolutely does not. And that is whole life insurance. So whole life insurance, you guys, it is, I think, one of the worst financial products on the market because you're getting insurance for your whole life, but it also has a investment attached to it so that you get a crappy rate of return. And through some of the accounts, they keep the money when you die. It's all this stuff. No. So I recommend getting term life insurance, have your investing in something completely different. And if the end of the life stuff isn't on your radar yet, I hate to be the bearer of news, but you are going to die. So you need to be thinking about this stuff, you guys. And I know it's not fun to think about, but think through this. And especially if you have someone that is dependent upon your income, make sure you have life insurance. Now, I love Xander Insurance, and you can get a free quote in just a few minutes. And you go to RamseySolutions.com/term life and check that out. Now, while we're at it, if you haven't checked out my episode about 6 types of insurances that you need and some that you don't, make sure to do that today as well. And remember to take control of your money and create a life you love. Would you believe me if I said that you could find over $3,000 in your budget in just 15 minutes? Well, that's exactly what I'm saying. And stay tuned to find out how. Make sure to like, subscribe, and share this episode with a friend. All right, let's jump in, you guys, because so many people that I meet in my line of work have lived paycheck to paycheck, or they're living paycheck to paycheck most of their adult lives. And we have found the number one emotion around money is, unsurprisingly, stress. So I've been doing these webinars once a week for the past couple of months. And I also get DMs on social media. I get calls in from the Ramsey Show. And so literally, regardless of where I am and people or have questions around money, or they want to change what they've been doing with money, I do find that, yes, that paycheck to paycheck living cycle is so common, so normal. And also stress, anxiety, and fear are so high on the emotional scale for people. And it's not until they actually start working a plan, getting out of debt, budgeting, that we see those numbers completely flip, where actually hope, the emotion of hope skyrockets, the emotion of, even being motivated, having motivation skyrockets. And then those more negative emotions of anxiety and fear and all of that end up going down. And so we see that over and over again. And it's a really beautiful thing. But again, getting on the plan is key because the average family pays out $1,237 a month in non-mortgage debt. You guys, that's a really expensive way to live. If you give that amount of money away every single month out to banks and credit card companies and Sally Mae versus keeping it and actually paying yourself that money or investing that money, you're going to be in that paycheck to paycheck cycle for a long time. But let's say that you were out of debt in the next 2 years and you start actually investing that money instead of paying it out, you actually invest it. And let's say you start at age 44 and you, instead of it going out to debt payments every single month, you invested it and you started at 0 and you invested every single month from the age of 44 all the way to 65. Do you know you would have over $1 million saved? That's what's crazy. And that's with the rate of return of 10%, which again is pretty much the average of what the S&P 500 has done over the last 40 years. But you can go and actually change some of those numbers because let's say you're 35 and you start this. How much more is that going to be? Let's say you actually have some money maybe in your 401k, a couple $1,000 starting off there and then adding to that. So these numbers change and usually in a positive way because that debt and that paycheck to paycheck lifestyle, it is costing you retirement. And so being able to be out of debt, y'all, is huge. Now, in order to find money to invest, not just from your debt, is budgeting and understanding how to do this. So I want to kind of give you a quick overview of EveryDollar, because there's parts of it that are new and improved, and they're amazing. And the new users that are doing EveryDollar are finding on average $3,015 of margin in their first 15 minutes with EveryDollar to put towards debt in their first 30 days, which we love. That is what we want. So the first thing I want you to do, part one of this, is a think level budget. And so this is going to be for 5 minutes. I want you to create a budget. So this is not going back to, the previous months and trying to like figure out numbers. This is high level, kind of a guesstimate, if you will, of a budget. Now, if you download EveryDollar, you can do it within EveryDollar, but think through all the categories that you spend money on. And this is food, your bills, electricity, water, cell phone, insurance, childcare, miscellaneous, like everything that you spend money on. I want you to list those out, and your income minus all of those categories, including giving and saving, should equal 0. So again, this is a high level. I want it quick. So again, don't have, an paralysis of the analysis. Like don't be, stopping and being like, okay, I'm going to go back to the last 3 months and try to calculate and find a precise number. No, not here. Okay. I want you to just do it high level and quick. We want numbers down. Okay, then we can move on to part 2, which is bank account connectivity. So you're going to connect your bank to your budget. So to EveryDollar, you're able to search your bank or your credit union that you use, and it's completely safe. A lot of people kind of freak out about this. We use a lot of third-party companies to protect, because trust me, we want this safe. Winston and I connect our bank account to EveryDollar. So I'm telling you, you can do this, okay? So after it's done, the beautiful thing though is that all of your transactions will go into the app. And so daily you can log into the app and you can actually track and drag over all your transactions to the category that it's coming out of. So if it's food and Aldi comes up because you went to Aldi, went shopping, you can drag and drop that into the food category or the grocery category. And it's great because it does the math for you. It shows you what you have left in each category, and you're able to keep track. Because if you do a budget and not know where your money's going, it's not going to do anything, right? Like you don't know how much you have left in clothing if you don't track and know how much have you already spent on clothing or whatever it may be. So being able to do that is really big. This is a big part of budgeting, is tracking your transactions. Now, the third part of this, which is more new and approved to EveryDollar, which I love, is the personalized coaching. Okay, so you're going to go through about a 15-minute questionnaire where it's going to ask you every possible aspect of your life and your money: retirement, insurance, side hustles, everything, you name it, to get as much information as possible to know where you are financially. And then the beautiful thing is the digital coaching experience will give you up to 16 recommendations of what you can do. And this can look like everything from changing your tax withholdings if you got a big, tax return, changing insurances, looking at your out to eat category. It just like in an instant can look over everything and tell you, here's what you can do. And the great thing is within these recommendations, you get to decide, yes, I want to do that recommendation. And you can click yes. Or you can say, nope, I don't want to do it. And you don't have to do it. Or within it, you can change it. Let's say, you have $3,000 saved up for a vacation, but you're in EveryDollar and you have debt. It's probably going to say, hey, don't go on vacation. Use that money to pay off debt. And maybe you decide, against Ramsey principles, that's okay, where you're like, no, I'm still going to go, but I'm not going to spend as much. So maybe I only spend $1,000 and I'll put $2,000 towards debt. Like whatever it looks like, you can even change the numbers within the recommendations. But what we find on average is that people are finding $3,015 from these recommendations, which is amazing. Now, before we dig into this more, I do want to tell you about one of our sponsors, Delete Me. If you don't remove your personal data from the internet, your name, your address, your email, even your kids' names are out there on sketchy data broker websites. And these data brokers collect your data, sell it, and that puts you at risk for scams and fraud. But the good news is Delete Me removes your data and helps protect you from phishing, harassment, and other online threats. Winston and I use Delete Me, and it saves us so much time and worry. So protect your family's privacy and safety by signing up for Delete Me. Go to joindeleteme.com/Rachel for 20% off, bringing your monthly cost to under $9, or just click the link in the description. So again, up to these recommendations, they'll offer you 16 and you get to decide. And that's what I love about this is like you have the power to say, here's what I want to do. Now, beyond the digital coach experience, there's group coaching. So you can go in almost daily, and there are different topics around budgeting that our team puts on. It's completely free, but you can go in and do this group coaching. And it's everything from, how to budget with your spouse, how to budget with an inconsistent income, how to budget, when you're first starting out, budgeting 101, like all different topics around budgeting. That group coaching is there, and they're there for you to answer your questions and to help you. And then there's also one-on-one coaching that's completely free. You can do up to a 10-minute call with one of our coaches if you have a specific question about your specific situation, which is so great because all of this, you guys, we've been wanting to do as a company for a while, because the coaching part and being able to have someone walk with you with your situation has been so huge. And how to find that from a resource standpoint, and even like AI and digital and everything that our world has now, being able to figure out how to do that best for you as an individual is everything. So we are really, really excited about this. And there's something powerful about having someone on your team. And so you will never be stuck when you're doing this. When you're doing an every dollar budget now, you will not be stuck, because it's more than just your budget. It is looking at your entire financial picture, which is a really beautiful thing to keep you on track, which is part of paying off that debt, getting yourself in a place where you're saving and investing, which I love. So moral of the story is, the new Every Dollar is not just a budgeting app. It is your entire financial picture. And we are so excited about it, and excited for you to hit your next financial goals, because it is so important. The level of margin that you're going to get obviously varies. So if you need to add a side hustle into the mix, you can get some inspiration from my episode, 7 Creative Side Hustles for an extra $1,000 a month. You can click right here, or if you're listening on podcast, click the link below. All right, you guys, remember to take control of your money and create a life you love. Well, hey, you guys. So I recently saw a stat saying that parents spend on average $314 on their kids' birthday parties. And I would be honest, with all the custom balloon arches that I'm seeing on social media, I'm surprised it wasn't more. But today I want to talk about the root of why this is going on, share my honest thoughts, and even offer a few tips for celebrating your kids on their special day without sacrificing your family's financial future. And if you love this content, make sure to hit the subscribe button so we can chat more about topics like this. All right, first, USA Today reports that having a set theme for a kid's birthday party automatically increases the price. So if you're a 90s kid, it was Barney. Today, it may be Bluey or Paw Patrol. But throwing a specific themed birthday party usually means that the price is going to increase. Because if you think about it, you got to get custom invitations, you got to get the branded plates, you got to get the themed party favors, the matching napkins and tablecloth and balloons, the custom cake. All of it together has to work if a theme is happening, versus just kind of finding what's on sale and what works and throwing it together. But again, the idea that there is a theme and a color palette, you're going to end up spending more. Another reason for the increase in kid birthday parties, I believe, is social media. I think comparison culture is a real thing. You really are watching people either that you know or that you don't know, maybe in your town or maybe on the other end of the country, throwing these birthday parties, and you're like, oh, wow, look at that. That's amazing. And naturally, you're going to compare what they're doing versus what you're doing. And usually, comparison leads you down a road of discontentment, end up spending more money, and even debt at the end of the day. So being able to put the blinders on and just saying, you know what, I'm going to do what's best for me and my family. It may not have a color palette. It may not look, beautiful. The aesthetics may not all work with my house, but this is for my kids. We're going to be reasonable here, I think is really key. So just repeat after me. If I don't hire a Disney princess for my toddler's birthday party to impress everyone at the party and the internet, I'm going to be okay. I'm going to be okay. So just take the guilt and the burden off, parents. Take it off. All right, reason number 3 kids' birthday parties are getting pricier is simply because time is passing and your children are getting older. And the survey found that parents spend more money on birthday parties as the child gets older. And inflation makes everything more expensive year after year. And apparently 20% of parents confess to spending more than $500 on their kids' birthdays in years past. And I think we can all agree that inflation does play a huge part. You guys, you're going to be paying more and more as the years go on. And the idea that, again, you see what everyone else is doing. And so as this price increases and the expectation of what these birthday parties increase to, those expectations are sometimes just completely out of reach. And I think it's okay to say that. All right, before I share my tips on how to save in this area, let's talk about what it should look like if you do want to go all out for your kid's birthday party. Because the truth is, too, people are creative. That's not my bent naturally, but it may be yours. And you may be like, hey, I enjoy a good aesthetic when it comes to my kid's birthday party. I enjoy doing a theme and doing all of this. And if you love it, here are a couple of things to remember. Number one, always check your intent. Why are you doing this? Why are you spending X amount of money for your kid's birthday party, going into all the effort? Why? Because you can kind of check yourself with these 4 questions. If nobody sees this, do I still want to do it, right? If you can't post it, or even if nobody shows up to the birthday party, right? Like, what is that motivation there? Also, will this earn my kids' love? If you're kind of thinking, oh, I felt guilty because of X, Y, and Z in life, and I can go big on this day because they're going to love it and they're going to be happy with me and it's going to be great. Not a great motivation. Also, is it in the budget? Are you going into debt for it? Those are automatic X's, okay? But if you can budget it and it's reasonable, then go for it. Because also, I know you guys watching, everyone has different income levels. You know, there are different places financially. So if you have the margin, the ability to kind of, go all out because that's what you want to do, it's not a bad thing. But again, making sure that you can budget for it. And also, is this what my kid actually wants? Because sometimes as parents, we can tend to live vicariously through them. And you just want to make sure that this is actually what my kid is wanting and it's not just all about me. Also, think about the balance in it all. So if you are party planning and that, again, brings you joy, then that's great. You just want to make sure financially you're able to do it. And doing a budget, like we talked about earlier, is a key part of it. So if you've not done a budget, you guys, in general, you need to do that. And EveryDollar is a great budgeting app, especially when it comes to these kind of expenses. Because as of right now, I'm actually planning a birthday party for Charles because he'll turn 5 soon. And in EveryDollar, legit have a line item for Charles's birthday. So it's able to, we have the amount we want to spend, stay within that budget, and it keeps you accountable, which is great. All right, now here are my 6 budget-friendly birthday tips if you're looking to throw a birthday party on a budget. Number 1, don't pay for invitations. Just send a text or an email. Because let's be honest, we all need tracking. And if you mail an invitation, or at least to our house, more than likely, we're going to lose it. And so when I get a text, it is so much easier to see. And that's literally what I did. I was like, Charles's birthday with the confetti emojis on each side. I tried to make the text cute. But besides that, you text it out to all the moms or texting you back and boom, boom, boom. Very efficient. It's great. Number 2, skip party favors. My kids, they always kind of hate this about me. They're like, Mom, we want a goodie bag for our friends. And I'm like, yeah, but the truth is that goodie bag is going to go home. And that mom is like, here's more crap that we're going to have to deal with on the floor of the minivan or being, it's going to break or y'all going to fight over it. Like, it's all crap anyways. It is. So if you need to save money, skip the party favors. Number 3, focus on the essentials. So think about, you don't have to go and cook for 50 people and, do a huge full meal. Listen, a funfetti cupcake is going to be a crowd pleaser. And that is one thing that we have done is we have nixed birthday cakes. We do a birthday cake, but I've nixed going to a bakery and buying one. Because the kids don't care. They really don't. And again, it's beautiful, good for pictures. And again, if that's your thing and that's where you want to spend your money, do it. But for me, I've kind of nixed it. And my kids, we bake their birthday cake. We go get literally a box of cake, and they make it. And funfetti is usually what it is. And everyone's happy. Everyone's great. Number 4, keep it casual for as long as possible. So listen, if they are under 3 years old, your child has no clue what is going on. I would even say when they're 3, they probably really don't know. Maybe when they're hitting that 4 or 5 age, they're starting to have friends and ask specific things and what they want. But besides that, y'all, they don't know. They do not know. So do not feel like you have to go all out because they don't know what's going on. It is for the adults at the party. It is not for the kids at that point. All right, number 5, think about experiences over things. So if you notice that your kids have a favorite activity or something that they love to do, incorporate that into the party. Like I've known people as our kids are getting older, they're not doing big birthday parties. They're just like, hey, they tell their kid, hey, pick, 2 or 3 friends and we'll go to dinner and go to a movie or go to a sporting event. Like we can do something that again is a little bit of smaller capacity and it doesn't feel like you have to throw this big birthday party for everyone. So if your kid likes that kind of thing, that could be a way to save some money. Number 6, research affordable venues. So I know here in Nashville, there are definitely places that you can throw kid birthday parties, everything from Chuck E. Cheese to the indoor trampoline thing, this other thing that has all this crazy stuff that the kids can do, or the skate center, right? And so there's all different venues at all different price points. So look at that because you can spend a significant amount more depending on the venue. And my daughter had a skate birthday party this summer and the skate center, y'all, was so cheap. Like when I saw the quote, I was like, really? That's great. Okay. So that's much different than some of the other places that we've done that are like indoor and bigger and much more expensive. So do your research. All right, those are some tips when it comes to a budget-friendly kid birthday party. I hope that helps. And also remember, as you're parenting, sometimes we can put such importance on like one day, right? Whether it's like Christmas or their birthday. And the truth is, who they are all the other days of the year and who you are with them is what's really going to shape them. And that's why it is so important to always remember to be teaching your kids things about giving and sharing and all of that, because the character of your kids is what's important. And that's not going to be defined by one birthday party that you overspend on. But again, cultivating who they are is so, so key. And I'm so passionate about that. And so I actually wrote another kids book specifically about sharing and giving. And I am so excited, you guys. It is out. It released this week. And so make sure to check it out because, again, it is something that's so near and dear to my heart. It's called I'm Glad for When I Can Share. And it's a sweet book that goes along the series about contentment and generosity. And this book is about sharing. So make sure to check it out. All right, you guys, share this episode with a friend if you know someone that's going to be throwing a birthday party soon. And if you want to cut back on other places, make sure to check out my episode on 3 places you overspend without even knowing it. Remember, you guys, to take control of your money and create a life you love. Well, hey, you guys. So one thing about me, I believe 2 things can be true at the same time. Do I believe that you can have the power to build wealth by following a plan and making intentional choices? Yes. Do I believe in listening to expert advice to guide you through certain parts of the process? Also, yes. So even though money can feel very personal and private for a lot of people, the truth is that a financial advisor is a must, especially when it comes to investing. So today I want to talk about that and share 5 reasons why you should never handle your finances alone. A lot of people assume that this service is only for the extremely wealthy people, that's what they need. But the truth is, it's wise to get a coach or somebody in your corner at any stage of your financial journey. We've already done the work to find someone that you can trust, but technically there is a right and a wrong time to invest. So stay tuned till the end so you can hear my thoughts on that. But first, let's make sure we're all on the same page when it comes to what a financial advisor is. The term financial advisor isn't an official title or degree. It's just the name of people who offer some kind of service to those seeking guidance with their personal finances. So a few examples of this is a CPA, a certified public accountant, an RIA, a registered investment advisor, a CFP, a certified financial planner, a PFS, a personal finance specialist. And all of those abbreviations can kind of get confusing, but it's encouraging to me to know there are experts out there who are talking about money. They're being educated on it. They got to take a lot of tests and all this smart stuff. So listen, they know what they're doing. But my favorite way to find a trustworthy advisor is through SmartVestor Pro. So I will leave a link for you to get connected with a professional in your area down below. Now let's talk about 5 key reasons why you need to work with a pro. Number 1, financial advisors keep you on track with your investing plan. So in short, financial advisors are constantly asking the important questions that you may not even think to ask. And beyond that, they will know the specific answers and the specific numbers for your situation. So for example, they may have insider information and how much money that you need to have saved for retirement, or how you can make up for lost time if you're investing late. Should you change your investment portfolio as you get older and you're making more money? How do you go about making some of these changes? What are the tax implications? What happens if you sell a property? I mean, the list goes on and on and on. So if you don't believe me, go do a quick Google search, because the data consistently shows that those that work with a professional to help them invest are ahead of those that don't. All right, number 2, financial advisors do more than just invest your money for you. So there is a broad list of things that a financial professional will do for you and help you think about. This is everything from rebalancing your investments, tax planning, estate planning, long-term care planning, spending strategies after retirement, legal restrictions that affect all of the things that we just mentioned. I mean, financial advisors literally live and breathe this stuff. So it doesn't mean that you don't get a say in your own strategy. In fact, I want to empower you. It is your money. They are there to assist and advise, not make the final call. So just because you're a financial professional said, oh yeah, you need to do this, I want you to understand why. And if you don't feel good about it, don't do it, okay? Now, they are professionals. They know what they're doing, so I want you to be able to trust them. But also remember, this is your money. You have the power to say yes or no. All right, number 3, even the pros need help sometimes. I mean, you think about it, doctors can't perform surgeries on them. I mean, graduate students, don't grade their own essays. So no matter what industry you're in, everyone has blind spots. So even if you work in the world of finance, or maybe you're good with money, having an expert's opinion is really crucial when you're making big financial decisions. Plus, professional financial advisors often work with up to 100 clients or more, which gives them a much larger amount of context than just, again, your personal perspective and your opinions. And they're unbiased when it comes to their expertise across the board. And again, this is whether they are paid, even how they're paid, right? A flat fee or a commission. Finding someone that you trust is so key. All right, number 4, you just don't have the time. Let's be honest. If you're working a full-time job, you got friends, you got family, you got a million other things to be thinking about. Investing is a really big part of building wealth, and you want to do it the right way. And it also can be something that you just put on autopilot most days. But this only works if a professional is on your team and they're constantly looking at all of the factors when you don't have time to analyze them. So things like inflation and stock market trends and the housing climate, like all of this, yes, I want you to be informative. But again, they're going to have a deeper understanding, which is great. Number 5, financial advisors that make non-emotional decisions so you don't have to lose progress. So just like T Swift's tour, the world of investing has some eras to it, if you know what I mean. So like the stock market drop in 2008, the rise and the fall of crypto, the GameStop spike 2021. I mean, all of these things are factors into our economy. But here's the deal. The flashy headlines can really stir up some big emotion, which causes people to make really bad decisions and pull their money out when they should have just stayed in. And investing works best if you're in it for the long haul, which means working with a professional you can talk yourself down. Our investment professional we met with, he even said the other day, he's like, half my job is literally emailing and taking phone calls, talking people off the ledge because people freak out. They do, and they want to take the money out. But what your investment professional or advisor is going to see is, oh my gosh, if we stay in the market, we actually can end up buying more funds. Your money will go further. So when the market returns, which it has always returned, you're going to make more. So it's best just to ride out the wave. Okay, now that you have more of an understanding of why it's important to work with an investment professional, let's talk about when and how you should reach out to a pro. So when? This is when you are debt-free and you have 3 to 6 months of expenses saved in the bank. This is crucial. Then your goal is to invest 15% of your income into retirement. So this is going to include 401ks and 403bs and Roth IRAs, all of that. And once investing begins, then I would reach out to a pro. So next is how. So how do you find a reliable financial advisor in your area? Well, I will leave a link to SmartVestor Pros down below. So what's really powerful, though, is I would go and talk to maybe 2 or 3 different ones. And maybe one of them, you're kind of like, yeah, they kind of just, you don't like them. that's fine. Don't use them. Find somebody that you actually like and that you trust and makes you feel comfortable and, again, has the heart of a teacher. But I want one for you that you enjoy and you trust and you love. If you're looking for more investing advice, make sure to check out my episode on how investing can actually lose you money. All right, you guys, remember to take control of your money and create a life you love.